If there is anything that needs to be satirized and remixed, it is Trump talking about massive dumps. And by the way, extra points, if you can sample Trump saying massive dumps and me talking about it in a song, please do it.
Dumps. Big massive dumps. Dumps. Big massive dumps. Dumps.
Dumps. Dumps. Dump, dump, dumps. Dumps. Dump.
Dumps. Dumps.
Dumps. Dumps. Dump, dump, dumps. Dumps. Dump.
Dump. Big massive dumps. Dumps.
Dumps. Dumps.
Sure you just
Dump, dump, dumps. Dumps. Dump.
dump. Big massive dumps.
Donald Trump insisted multiple times that it was massive dumps that led him to lose the election, which is just
on another level, on another level.
Dumps.
Dumps. Dumps.
Sure you just
Dump, dump, dumps. Dumps. Dump.
dump. Big massive dumps. Dumps.
Dumps. Dumps.
Sure you just
Dump, dump, dumps. Dumps. Dump.
dump. Big massive dump.
You turn the faucet on in areas where there's tremendous amounts of water, where the water rushes out to sea because you could never handle it. People are flushing toilets 10 times, 15 times, as opposed to once. Keep tripping.
Dumps.
Dumps. Dumps.
Sure you just
Dump, dump, dumps. Dumps. Dump.
dump. Big massive dumps. Dumps.
Dumps. Dumps. Dump, dump, dumps. Dumps. Dump.
Dumps.
what is going on here? What is going on here? It's just beyond parody. Massive dumps cost him the election. What is going on here? What is going on here? It's just beyond parody. Massive dumps cost him the election. What is going on here? What is
Dumps. Dumps.
Dumps.
dumps that
Dumps.
Dumps. Dumps.
Toilets 10 times.
Dump, dump, dumps. Dumps. Dump.
Dumps. Dumps.
Dumps. Dumps.
multiple times.
Dump, dump, dumps. Dumps. Dump.
Dumps. Dumps.
Dumps. Dumps.
Massive dumps.
Dump, dump, dumps. Dumps. Dump.
Dump. Big massive dumps.
What
Dumps.
is going on here?
Dumps.
What is
Dump,
going
dump, dumps.
on here?
Dump.
Dump. Big massive dumps.
It's All right. Hey, everybody. It's finally that day. Joe Biden will be doing his first official press conference in about a half hour. We are counting down the minutes. Whatever happens at this press briefing, you know what will be said on Fox News and right-wing media. It took him too long to do it. It was too short. His answers were bad. He may be senile. He mistreated the right-wing people in the crowd. You know, we know exactly what the narratives are going to be. I don't care about that. I'm actually curious to see Joe Biden answer questions, including tough questions. I expect no hand-holding and kid gloves, for lack of a better term. I do want to announce to everybody and welcome everybody that I have tested positively from the standpoint of negative on my COVID test. As many of you know, we will be on break next week. And as a vaccinated individual, I've made the calculated decision to do a travel. And I have been tested and really positive results from the negative standpoint, as Donald Trump said. And doctors actually surprised. I got an email from the doctor saying he had never seen results like mine and wanted to know, how was I even able to do it? Quite frankly, he was unsure how this was even possible. So this will be a great event, I think. It'll be great to hear Joe Biden answer questions. He's doing another event later today, and I don't know if I will be covering that one. We will just see. Yeah, my doctor called me and he said, "Sir, we've never seen anything like this before. We don't know how you did it." Most of our patients, this is not something that they are able to do. And then he said, "For you, you don't need to flush 10 to 15 times based on those results. So it was a great conversation overall. All right. I have a bunch of things to play for you. Before I do that, I do want to say thank you to I Am Stranded as well as Henny Baked Ham. Who else here? Hold on. Eliz, who signed up via Twitch. ODWDINC has gifted 5, putting us at 8. And 0 plus 8 is 8. So that puts us there. Also, very important announcement. Today is the last day for the Immoral 21 coupon code. And the reason we're canceling it is we are now under investigation. I have a voicemail from the police to play momentarily as far as what's going on with that. Okay. Latest numbers. We have a story on today's podcast about this. Cases are going back up in the United States. And if you look now at the average, we had dipped all the way down to about 55,000 cases a day about 10 days ago. Cases now going back up. We are up about 3,000 cases a day to 58,000 a day. And I won't go into all the reasons why this is happening. Part of it is as more people get vaccinated, many people's perception of the risk goes down. So even though they're not vaccinated, they start behaving less responsibly. Variants are a factor. So for example, let me see if I can pull this up. Michigan. In Michigan, the British variant, also known as the B117 variant, is spreading. And although the B117 variant is very well handled by our vaccines, most people still aren't vaccinated. And thus, look at this, a 250% increase in cases, or even more, in Michigan. That's not good. For now, deaths continue to go down. Here's USA deaths. Still going down, but starting to level. Okay, so we've got to keep pushing vaccination forward. Here is the latest vaccination data. We are at 2.5 million doses per day. We had yesterday 2.25 million doses. And reportedly today, Joe Biden will be announcing a new goal of 200 million doses in his first 100 days. His first promise was 100 million. It wasn't that ambitious. We were already doing 900K when he announced it. I know some people get mad when I say that. Doesn't matter. He's under-promised and over-delivered, and that's a really, really great thing. So, new announcement coming today. Thank you to Tangela Irene, as well as I Am Stranded, for gifting 5 subs. That's 6. HSC Mace has signed up for a 7th subscription, and then a Danish Joint just got an 8th. An 8th subscription. Everybody careful. That's 8 plus 8 is 16, which is a fantastic number. A few other super chats coming in. Danny says, Deepak, don't have the time to watch both you and Sam Cedar. So behind on videos, I've been watching yours first, victim of the Sam to David pipeline. The pipeline goes both ways. No question about that. The Andrew Fox Music Channel says, my project this weekend, write a David Pakman Show themed theme song. Nice. Pepe Xanadu wants me to spell red. Let me see here. Red. R-E-D. Did I do that correctly? Dara10 says, Fox has the flag at half-mast behind Biden. Pathetic. Yeah, I don't know what that's about. Who knows what the explanation is. But soon we will be seeing Joe Biden. Chris says, hey, at home recovering from COVID, you're a welcome relief from terrible daytime TV. Thanks, Chris. I hope you're feeling better and on the mend. Also want to say thanks to Major Blazer and Blue Moon Maiden just gifted 5 subscriptions via Twitch. That's 6. 16 plus 6. 6 plus 6 is 12. Carry the 1. 1 plus 1 is 2. Is my math right there? I think it is. Also, thanks to NZN8 for signing up via Twitch. New member number 23 today. And a big thank you to Makosin for gifting 10 subs via Twitch. That's very generous. I do have an unban request to adjudicate. I have my gavel here. So we are gaveling in. Twitch has a functionality where if you get banned, you can appeal the ban and argue that you should be unbanned. This one's concerning. This is a user named Thomas J. Thomas first appeared on our channel in February, where Thomas said, David, I have this rash. What do I do? 1 month later, on March 23rd, Thomas J. came back with the same joke. David, can you give me advice about this rash? Thomas came back yesterday and again said, hey, David, I'm still struggling with this rash. They then went on a sort of tear where they just sent messages that are all capital O's together. Ooh, respect the fish. Ooh, respect the fish. Ooh, respect the fish. A minute later again, ooh. Then again, ooh, respect the fish. Ooh, they were then banned. And their unban message is, come on, man. Ooh, respect the fish. Please unban me. That is just so stupid that it is going to be denied and confirmed. That is a permaban. And we have adjudicated that one. It's just too stupid. I just don't have the patience for this idiocy. All right. So that is the only unban request that I have. A couple of people saying the coupon code isn't working. The coupon code is working fine. And in fact, it's the second to last day for the coupon code. Remember that everybody knows about Better 21. We have an unpublished coupon code. Uh-oh, wait a second. Bad gateway. Oh, no, there we go. We have an unpublished coupon code, which is Immoral 21. So let's say I want to do yearly $60, but then I come down to coupon code Immoral 21. It's processing. Oh my God. Can you imagine if it's actually not working for once? Someone just used it though. How could it be not working? I think this is a one-time website glitch of some kind. It might genuinely not be working. Immoral 21. Oh, there it is. Okay. There it is. Look at that savings. That's a 69% savings. $60 becomes $18.60. So there it is. Yeah, just a glitch. Just a glitch. Everything's working fine. Coupon code working. Now, as of midnight tonight, tomorrow night, the coupon will not work because we're canceling it. All right. Here's a couple of voicemails that came in actually about the coupon code. The police from our old stomping grounds in Northampton, Massachusetts did call me. The coupon code is under investigation. Listen to this. This is sad, actually.
This message is for Mr. Packman. This is Officer Riviera McGruff.
Riviera McGruff. That's, I believe that they're actually a police captain.
From the Northampton Police Department. I'm calling really as a fan. You know, there's been a lot of talk around the precinct about upcoming illegal and immoral discounts. I just want you to know we can't let this go unchecked.
Right.
You know, it's completely unconscionable. I'm a fan, but you know that we'll have no choice but to act. You know, I really want to let you know.
Yeah, I shouldn't if the coupon code's illegal, it shouldn't be allowed just because the police are fans. You know, that would be wrong.
As a fan, we know what's going on. We've heard about it.
It's funny also to refer to the precinct because Northampton's so small. There aren't precincts. There's like just the police station. There's no precincts.
Aware, and we're prepared. So I want you to know that. May God bless you. God bless Israel. God bless Palestine. And may God bless the United States.
God bless the United States. Yep, that's true. So that's going on. And then here's another one. A lot of people very reactive to these coupon codes.
Hi, David. This is Clay. I've been a long-time member, but a big thing that I've always liked about the show and just about you is your integrity. And I think you're just a guy of good moral standing generally. But with this new coupon code, Immoral 21, and this one-day deal coming up, that I don't know. I think just the immorality of it is really throwing you and the entire show, just the integrity of it into question. And I'm really rethinking my membership.
Yep. The membership is it's such a good code. People are canceling.
And where I'm supporting media. So I I don't know. I guess I'm just asking you to rethink all of this. And, yeah, hopefully you'll come around and get back to the integrity of the show. I hope so. But, yeah, I guess I'll just be watching out for that.
Yep. So a lot of people very, very troubled by that. Okay. And I do want to say thanks in all seriousness, now this is not a joke. I want to say thanks to Ryan Benitez, who just did sign up using the coupon code Immoral21 on my website, joinpacman.com. Some other super chats coming in. Dalton says, so disappointed. The new immoral discount code is the next victim of the radical left's cancel culture war as of tomorrow. Yeah, basically. And Buffalo Five Knives says, gotta say, Beta Male is the best track hands down. We'll be enjoying a Finca El Origen from Mendoza with a steak this evening. Viva Argentina. Yeah, there's some nice, there's some great, I've been down to Mendoza, Argentina. Let me see if I can even find some pictures of the winery. I think Mendoza. Yeah, this place is wild. This is a fantastic vineyard in Mendoza. It's at the foot of the Andes. You can see the Andes in the background, and they have this glassed-in dining area. I mean, imagine, this is all pre-COVID, where you can get like a wine lunch. It's absolutely fantastic. This place is really good, and there was one other I went to that was really good. It's just an amazing, amazing place. Yeah, this is the view, and had a nice little stick shift vehicle rental. Was zooming all around. Just a great, great area. Yeah, the entire area is just amazing. These are not like doctored pictures. This is just what it looks like there. It's unbelievable. This bridge I don't remember going on, but a very, very interesting. Oh, I don't know who this is. Really, really nice. Okay, so highly recommend it. Mendoza, tourism when it comes back, Argentina. Great, great place to go. Pepe Xanadu says, is the U.S. the most racist country against all ethnicities? No, there's these people like Dennis Prager who like to say the U.S. is the least racist country in the world. I don't believe the U.S. is the least racist country, but there is no question that we are way ahead in the U.S. on a lot of racial issues from where many countries are. And I think that it's very easy as progressives to just say, there's no more racism problem that's bigger than the United States. It's not the case. It's not the case. The U.S. actually is way better on a lot of issues related to race than many other countries. Doesn't mean we have huge problems to solve, but I think it's important not to be hyperbolic on that. We are seeing massive membership dumps. I want to say thank you to Bakari Hassan. Bakari Hassan is a new member. Andrea Larson has signed up on my website. Patricia New is a new member. Maximilian Froelich is a new member. Joe Fox is new member number 5. Amanda Abbott is number 6. Charlene Campbell is number 7. Jacob Durham is number 8. Charles Hess is number 9. Isaac Grant is number 10. Nicholas Skajewski is number 11. And Gilbert Stuber is number 12. 34 plus 12 puts us at 46. We also have via Twitch a membership from Heldardo, Chaotic Stasis, Moon River, A Web. And I think that's it. Okay, yeah, that's 4. Putting us at 50. We have a new meme contest. If you would like a free membership, I have 10 free memberships available, 2 of which are being underwritten by, let me make sure I get this right, Luke Ellis. Luke Ellis has underwritten 2 of these 10 memberships. We did a meme contest last week. We have a new one, and I have a submission. Here is the new meme format, doing a David Pakman Show edit of this infamous video. As I said yesterday, I could be replaced for Biden's face or Trump's or the cat or something different. Now, I have for you today from Nick the first submission. If people are, and remember, I have 10 memberships to give away, so don't be intimidated by this. But this is the first submission, and I'm warning everybody, it's very, very good. Okay? For people who want the source video, you just go to youtube.com and search for Trump Biden bongos, and it'll be the first thing that comes up. You don't need a link. We don't need a link. You just go to YouTube and you search for Trump Biden bongos. Okay, here is the first submission from Nick. This is what we're up against.
Guess what? I got a fever. And the only prescription is more cowbell.
It was a perfect storm, really.
Welcome to San Francisco, Mr. Wachowski.
And are incredible. Oh, these people don't know what the hell they're doing. Let me recover my ears for 1 second.
So that's a pretty strong first submission, guys. I'm not gonna lie, that's pretty good. The only thing I might tweak is my it's a little bit off. It's a little bit off sync. It's almost like it's not even off by half a beat. It's off by like a third of a beat, which sounds a little weird. So that's really good. That's really, really good. And you can submit yours. I think the easiest way is upload it to YouTube and send me the YouTube link so we don't have to send around files or anything like that. But that's really good. If you think you can't do something better than that, don't worry, because I have 10 memberships to give away. That's only one submission. Okay? And some people are saying that it's out of scope, that it should just stick to the format. There's no rules here. You could, as long as it includes the video, anything goes, and it's up to us to decide. It's a very strong meme. Really, really strong meme. All right, guys? So that's that, and people can send their submissions to me. info@davidpakman.com. Some super chats coming in. Live breaking, Pepsi and Peeps collaborating and have made marshmallow soda. They're not calling it Peepsy. This is not a joke. I don't drink soda, so I couldn't tell you what's true and what's not in the soda world. It is funny that in Canada, no one cares about the legality of the coupon code. I know. Trudeau has bigger fish to fry. Did I experience racism growing up? No. I mean, I moved to the U.S. and I'm white. I think I definitely, let's see, I'm trying to think. Before I spoke English and I had like a Spanish helper, maybe there were some people who were, joshing me for that. The joke was on them, though. I pretended, this is an incredible story. We moved to the U.S. in August, right? Not this past August. I mean, the year that we moved to the U.S., it was in August, and started school in September. And by December, my parents could tell that I already understood English and had I didn't need the translator any longer. But I pretended to need the translator because I just liked it. And she stuck around until March. Can you imagine? I got 3 to 4 extra months of translator by pretending not to understand what was going. What? I don't know. So that was that. That was interesting. That was a while ago. I do have other new members to thank. Brian John just signed up at joinpakman.com with the coupon code immoral21. Aaron Burkampus just signed up at joinpakman.com. Christopher Vasquez just signed up at joinpakman.com. John Faso is a new member. Tom Miller is number 5. Wait, Benjamin Vasquez? Benjamin and Christopher Vasquez signed up. I don't know if they're related. That's number 6. And Christine Batura is number 7, putting us at 57. We do count Twitch subs as well. So Cosmos 84, as well as Iluitzi, Grizzly Adams, Ninja of Physics, have dropped in some Twitch subs, putting us at 61. Other super chats. Oh, people are asking if my parents were mad that they were paying for the translator. This was a long time ago. The translator was provided by the school. No, we weren't paying for it. It was free at the point of service. I guess we were paying for it via taxes, right? Kieran Buckley says, "Hi, David, fan from the UK. Really enjoy the content and keep up the great work." Thank you, Kieran. I appreciate that. White Death says, "Have you reached out to interview any Uyghur activists?" Yes, we did. They didn't write back, but we did reach out to one or two. Ferret says, "Headed to your neck of the woods Saturday." New York City? Oh, my old neck of the woods in Boston. Oh, Blue Hills, Common, Public Garden, lunch recommendations, nothing crazy. Yeah, let me see if this place is still open. Hold on. Yeah, here's a place, if you're going to be around the Common, here's a good spot for lunch. Souse. This is a Belgian sandwich and fry place. I assume that they're still open. They're open for pickup. Okay. Yeah, they have, they have the fries. Look at these fry sauces. It's real Belgian style. Smoky chipotle, spicy sambal, garlic chickpea mayo, curry ketchup. Very controversial, I know. Herbed ranch. This is a good spot. And they used to have, what did I used to get there? I used to get sometimes a mushroom grilled cheese. Seems like that's gone. What would I probably get? I've had the kimchi fried chicken sandwich. Strong sandwich. Very, very strong. So and they're hiring. Yeah, so that's something to look at, certainly. All right. There is that. Vandal Grunt says, "Why do you think Fox is trying to paint Biden as a senile, incompetent old man?" Because they're a right-wing network and it's getting clicks. I don't know. Daniel Krieger says, "You were offbeat with the hammer. That's the joke." Oh, you know what's funny about that? I was worried about that. When I was playing along to the song, I wasn't offbeat the way I was hearing the song, but I was worried that there was a slight delay and that it was melding incorrectly out there. Okay. Thank you. Edward says, "Have you seen the original version of this song? It's a group of 4 all a cappella." No, I haven't. Favorite flavor of crisp potato chips? Just curious. I haven't had potato chips in so long. I couldn't even tell you. I guess barbecue. I think barbecue. Amanda says, "Thanks for the immoral coupon code. I just used it. It's very much illegal and very much working. I was wondering what your favorite cookie is." Ooh, favorite cookie. I'm kind of like a double chocolate guy. Like the cookie itself is brown and it has pieces of chocolate in it. I think that's probably my favorite cookie. Did you deliberately make the discount code 69%? I thought this show was PG. What the hell, David? Yeah, I don't remember what it relates to. There was some reason for that, which I've now forgotten. I tried subscribing, but the code QAnon didn't work like it did on My Pillow. I'm sorry. Yeah. If you like noise rock bands like the Jesus Lizard or Shellac, you should check out my band in Nashville, Shanghai Theater. I don't even know what noise rock is, and I've never heard of those bands. How often do you work your arms? You look jacked. Yeah, thanks, Anita. Every day. Obviously, every day. Thank you. I do want to say thanks to Greg Burleson for signing up on my website. Also, Michael Shepard signed up at joinpacman.com, putting us at 63. Also want to say thanks via Twitch. That's My Mitch just grabbed a sub. Shiello Mello just grabbed a sub. That's 2, putting us at 65. What percent is that? 65 out of 100. 6 divided by 10 is 0.6. Carry over, square root. We are 65% of the way to our goal. It'd be humiliating if my math was wrong on that. Daniel says, how can I stream the audio of your live shows? You can't. If it's not available, what can I do to help it happen? Probably nothing. The easiest way to stream the audio of the live streams is to stream the video and not look at the video. That's my recommendation. People asking if we've filled the position I talked about last week. No, we had over 300 applicants. And so we are working through the applications, moving on to the skills test portion, but over 300 applicants to work through. My guess is, especially with our vacation coming up, my guess is that it's going to take several weeks to go through this, but a lot of excitement over the new position at the David Pakman Show. Twitch has audio only, I'm being told. Okay, very good. I stand corrected. So you can do it on Twitch, I guess, Daniel. Waffle says, are you hodling? Yeah, I am. I sold 15% of my Bitcoin on January 1. The point of that was to make it a taxable event on my taxes that would be done in 2022. So on January 1, I did it's a weird noise. I did a 15% sale, and then I've just been holding. And I mean, I know things are down a little bit over the last couple of days. My idea is, as I've said before, I am not a financial advisor, but I don't recommend having more than 3 to 5% or at the most 8-ish% of assets in Bitcoin, because who the hell knows what's going to happen. But because, I don't have a large share of my assets in Bitcoin, I'm basically thinking of it as a black swan. And if it were to lose half of its value, I might cut my losses and sell. But I'm just holding with the idea that it could be at 100,000 per coin by the end of the year. And if it doesn't, it doesn't, right? I mean, it's an asymmetrical risk where if it went to zero, I'm talking 3 to 5% of my assets. But if it doubles or triples, then it's significant. Not financial advice. Not financial advice, obviously. Let's see here. David, how likely is it that Dominion will sue Trump as a private citizen? No. Yeah, it's not going to happen. I don't think they're going to do that. Jack, another attempt to get me to... By the way, do people know about that Bill O'Reilly clip? Let me see if I can find it. Bill O'Reilly. It's the Mr. Meyerhofer clip. Where is this? Yeah, here it is. This is so good. Every time I see that, I'm reminded of this.
Jack Meyerhofer, Springfield, Massachusetts, says, O'Reilly, I see the new Fox definition of fair and balanced means...
How did it get by everybody? How does it get by every single person working for this show?
Jack Meyerhofer, Springfield, Massachusetts, says, O'Reilly, I see the new Fox definition of fair and balanced means interviewing DNC Chief Terry McAuliffe at both conventions. Well, right you are, Mr. Meyerhofer.
Mr. Meyerhofer with a really, really important message there for Bill O'Reilly. Jack says, how would you describe your day-to-day scent? I have no idea. Mountain Fresh, I think. The coupon code makes the yearly price $21 is why. That's for Better 21, not for Immoral 21. Joel says, which country are you from? I am from Argentina. So when can we expect an end video ad for My Pillow? We will not be advertised. Honestly, I would be interested in getting as an advertiser a competitor to Mike Pillow, a different pillow. So if we can find a pillow advertiser, I would love that. And to compete with Mike Pillow. I want to say thank you to Derek Leland for signing up at joinpacman.com. Tom Hamill has signed up at joinpacman.com. Jacob Janik has signed up at joinpacman.com. And Darren Chappell has also signed up, putting us at 69 new memberships for the day, 69% of the way. We are now officially standing by for Joe Biden, scheduled for now. Scheduled for now. Bilbo Baggins says, can you give a shout out to my friend Andrew? He's a teacher and a huge fan of your show. Absolutely, Andrew. Thank you. Keep up the teaching. I love it. And hope you're vaccinated. All of that stuff. James says, who's your favorite member of the Insane Clown Posse? I couldn't name a single individual. What are they called? Juggalos? What are the ICP people called? I forget what they're called. Juggalo? Juggalos, yeah. Extreme Instinct sends a super chat saying, we are live and urgent. Yes, the much anticipated first ever official press briefing of Joseph R. Biden Jr. We are commemorating this by ending our unpublished coupon code tomorrow. Better 21, that's for the amateurs. The pros know about the unpublished coupon code, Immoral 21, but it does end tomorrow. Respect says, ravioli, give me the formuoli. I don't know if that's some kind of inside. That's a pretty nasty question. William Legate and David Hogg have a new pillow company to run My Pillow out of business. It's called Good Pillow. You should reach out. Yeah, I don't think that they are. I don't think that they are like in the position of doing advertising yet. But that would be interesting. Seems like the fight for DC statehood is gaining momentum. Could it happen during Biden's first term? Yes, it could. I would assess it as having about a 30% chance. Rocco says, David, we yearn for the merchandise. Perhaps a what does this mean? Absolutely nothing or massive dumps shirt. Make it happen, my king. Oh, that's an important announcement. David Pakman Show merchandise is back. We shut down the store because of COVID. Everything was getting delayed and we couldn't get anything shipped out. We're back on fully. People are getting their stuff. So we've got the Data Mail t-shirt, of course. That's a perfect t-shirt. People like that. You can get it in all sorts of different colors. I kind of like Tahiti blue. It's just me. The coffee mugs are back, various sweatshirts. We have, this one's edgy. This is the If Ivanka Weren't My Daughter t-shirt. That one's popular in banana cream. I don't know why, but people like that one in banana cream. Yeah, we need some new stuff. We need, because a lot of these are still Trump themed. The Very Stable Genius. That's nice. What color is this one good in? It's not bad. It's actually, that's a nice contrast in banana cream. Honestly, I think every shirt is best in banana cream. But yeah, we are, those are shipping globally and everything is back on. If people have design ideas, we'll make it into a t-shirt if people want it. No doubt about it. So that's back on davidpakman.com/gear. And also, if you're on YouTube, the t-shirts and stuff that appear around the video, that vendor never shut down for COVID. So those have continued to be available. Sober Dude says, David, Pillow Cube is up and coming. All right, I'll look into that. Jay says, ravioli, Great Barrier Reef. Is this the tallest you've ever coiffed your nice hair? No. I mean, I just got a haircut the other day. It's not even possible of going high, really, right now. Okay. Jamie says, David, you should listen to Mac Miller, Good News. Cody Manharth says, data. Cameron McCabe says, is there a Massive Dumps t-shirt? No, that would be an interesting design. Some kind of Massive Dumps t-shirt. We would run with that. Flan from Powder Box, all-time favorite from childhood. Please don't ban. Oh my God. Is that like an instant flan? Let me look that up. Oh my goodness. I'm sorry, but I might have to ban you for this. These are like, oh, this is like factory flan. It's boxed flan. Oh, this is depressing. Oh, and this is a flan-style custard. That's not even flan. Oh, my God. How is this even legal to be sold? The second ingredient is carrageenan. Oh my God, I don't even know what to make of this. Never, ever, ever buy that. Please never buy that. Flan is 3 ingredients, okay? Milk, sugar, and eggs. That's it. You make some caramel, you get it dark but not burned, and you put it at the bottom of the pan. And then it's milk, eggs, and sugar in the oven for an hour. That's flan. Carrageenan. That is depressing, guys. That is seriously depressing to see. I won't ban you, Peppy, but I am concerned. David, check out Pillow Cube. Advertising on YouTube and looks legit. Pillow Cube. Interesting. I'm going to send an email to Noah right now, actually. Pillows. Hey, we should look for a pillow advertiser in particular because with all the My Pillow stuff going on, we have a great pitch about don't fall for the right-wing pillows, which stink anyway. We wouldn't use that language, but in any case, let's see if we can find a pillow sponsor. We're making it happen, guys. Yeah, I don't mean Noah that works for us. I just mean, Noah watching on Twitch. Okay, other new members. I want to say thanks to David Carey, as well as Craig Fife. Jackie Ott has signed up. Carmen Valley Riestra is a new member. Gerard Durkin has signed up. John Cipollini is a new member. So is Dan Zuniga. That's number 7. Jason Lutmer is number 8. And Ian Foster is new member number 9. That's putting us at 78. Also, oh, look, people are making some gear orders. That's cool. Yeah, we didn't ever want to shut down the gear store. It was just that things weren't getting to people. So that's that. Big thank you also via Twitch to Beef Goggles for the new Twitch sub. Andrew Whiplash has signed up. Sergeant Bus is a new member, putting us at 81. If you're just joining us, you've missed nothing. We are standing by for Joe Biden's press conference, scheduled for 7 minutes ago, and hopefully we'll start soon. Franz says, love your crisp enunciation. Excellent diction. Thank you, Franz. Charanko asks, why is Fox News so bothered that it took this long for Biden to do a press conference? They just need drama. That's all it is. They just need drama. Thoughts on the Snyder Cut? Snyder Cut. I don't know what that means. If you can give me more info, I would address it. People asking about the new emotes. We do have new emotes on Twitch. We have a Bitcoin emote. It's me with laser eyes. We have a beta emote. And we also have a David Chadman emote. Not all of these are available to everybody. For some, you do need to be a sub. What do you use in your hair? Yeah, I've addressed this before. This is not a sponsor. I use a product called Fiber, made by the company American Crew. It's insanely expensive, but it's the only thing I've been able to find that can get my hair under control. And it really lasts a long time. A little bit goes a long way. Not a sponsor. Should Randy Rainbow remove his love ballad about Cuomo? Do you think it's aged well? I'm in love with your skater boy look. Oh my God. I haven't seen the Randy Rainbow Cuomo video, so I would not be able to say. Ed says, what pomade or hair product do you use? Okay, yeah. American Crew Fiber. Not a sponsor, but they should be. Wendy says boxed flan is an abomination and is just wrong. Pepe Xanadu says have flan ready in the fridge from last night. You know, I have to tell you the truth. In Argentina, the tradition is the flan you have with a dollop of dulce de leche. If it weren't for the dulce de leche, I don't know that flan would be that good. That's the latest hot take. Kazim says save the powdered flan guy. Yeah, I won't ban him, but I am upset about it. You should bring YouTube boxing into politics and box Ben Shapiro. That's an idea. It's not a bad idea. I don't know that anyone would pay what I would need to be paid to do that, but I think it's an interesting idea. I would consider it if the money was right. Don King will be representing me in the negotiations. Just found your channel. When is the coupon going live? It's live right now. It's Immoral 21. It's not when is the coupon going live. It's when is it ending. It's ending tomorrow. Thank you to Jose Castillo for signing up at joinpacman.com. Thanks to Stephanie Cripps for signing up. Thanks to Kaylee Killian for signing up at joinpacman.com. That's 3, putting us at 84. Joe Biden is late, but we will see when this starts. I also want to say thank you to Unlikely Gamer for the Twitch sub, Koi Rai, David G. Poole. Okay, yeah, just those 3. Putting us at 87. Really want to compete with MyPillow? Promote crack. Yeah, we want to stay within the terms of service. How does an impeachment work for Governor Cuomo? I don't know how New York State impeachment works. That's a good question, and I don't have the answer. Wyatt says, design a pillow with a stereo Bluetooth speaker built in that plays bedtime stories using a deepfake Trump voice. That's a lot of work. I'll leave that to someone else to design, but I like the idea. Thoughts on the NBA trade deadline today? No basketball hot takes today, but I have been watching more basketball lately. I have been getting back into it. What was up with House Republicans and the Free Britney nonsense? I have no idea. I didn't know they were talking about that. Zack Snyder is an Ayn Rand shill. All right. Minuki says, what do you use for your hair? American Crew Fiber. American Crew Fiber. Roberto says, Venezuelan flan. That sounds communist. I don't know about that. Let's see what Venezuelan flan is. Okay. It's almost like a cheesecake. White sugar, condensed milk, milk, and eggs. Okay, so it's like Argentinian flan, but with condensed milk. All right. Don't know too much about it, but it's interesting. I'm nervous for Biden. Are you? Not really. Mostly because I don't care. I mean, it's like, oh, here we go.
Good afternoon. Before I take questions, I want to give you a progress report to the nation on where we stand 65 days into office here, on vaccinations and a few other top priorities for the American people. First, on vaccinations. On December 8th, I indicated that I hope to get 100 million shots in people's arms in my first 100 days. Please. We met that goal last week by day 58.
Let me mute this out. Hold on.
Ahead of schedule.
There we go.
Now today I'm setting a second goal, and that is we will, by my 100th day in office, have administered 200 million shots.
Wow.
In people's arms. That's right, 200 million shots in 100 days. I know it's ambitious, twice our original goal.
Wow.
But no other country in the world has even come close. Not even close to what we were doing. I believe we can do it. And today, we made a historic investment in reaching the hardest hit and the most vulnerable communities, the highest risk communities, as a consequence of the virus, by investing an additional $10 billion in being able to reach them. I also set a goal before I took office of getting a majority of schools in K through 8 fully open in the first 100 days. Now, thanks to the enormous amount of work done by our administration, educators, parents, local, state education officials, and leaders, recent Department of Education survey shows that nearly half of the K through 8 schools are open now full-time, 5 days a week for in-person learning.
Strong.
Not yet a majority, but we're really close, and I believe in the 35 days left to go, we'll meet that goal as well. As of yesterday, more than 100 million payments of $1,400 have gone into people's bank accounts. That's real money in people's pockets, bringing relief instantly almost. And millions more will be getting their money very soon. One final note. Since we passed the American Rescue Plan, we're starting to see new signs of hope in our economy. Since it was passed, a majority of economic forecasters have significantly increased their projections on the economic growth that's going to take place this year. They're now projecting it will exceed 6%, a 6% growth in GDP. And just this morning, we learned that the number of people filing for weekly unemployment insurance
pandemic
fell
low
by nearly 100,000 persons.
Yep.
It's the first time in a year the number has fallen below the pre-pandemic high. So there are still too many Americans out of work, too many families hurting, and they still have a lot of work to do. But I can say to you, the American people, help is here and hope is on the way. Now I'll be happy to take your questions.
Here we go.
Zeke, the Associated Press.
Thank you, Mr. President. You mentioned your progress on COVID-19. I'd like to ask you about some of the other issues facing your presidency.
I'm going to switch streams so that we can see the reporters, okay?
Hurting, and they still have a lot of work to do.
It's a little bit delayed. The White House feed is always delayed, but in general, we can see the reporters. I think that that's better, okay?
And hope is on the way. Now I'll be happy to take your questions. Zeke, the Associated Press.
Thank you, Mr. President. You mentioned your progress on COVID-19. I'd like to ask you about some of the other issues facing your presidency. One of the defining challenges you face in the coming months is how to deliver on your promise to Americans on issues like immigration reform, gun control, voting rights, climate change. All of those right now are facing stiff, united opposition from Republicans on Capitol Hill. How far are you willing to go to achieve those promises that you made to the American people?
Well, I'm good. Look, when I took office, I decided that it was a fairly basic, simple proposition, and that is I got elected to solve problems. And the most urgent problem facing the American people, I stated from the outset, was COVID-19 and the economic dislocation for millions and millions of Americans. And so that's why I put all my focus in the beginning. There are a lot of problems, but all my focus on dealing with those particular problems. And the other problems we're talking about, from immigration to guns and the other things you mentioned, are long-term problems. They've been around a long time. And what we're going to be able to do, God willing, is now begin one at a time to focus on those as well. And whether it's immigration or guns or a number of other problems that face the country. But the fundamental problem is getting people some peace of mind so they can go to bed at night and not stare at the ceiling wondering whether they lost their health insurance, whether they're going to lose a family member, whether they're going to be in a position where they're going to lose their home because they can't pay their mortgage, or the millions of people are going to get thrown out of their homes because of the inability to pay their rent. So we're going to move on these one at a time, try to do as many simultaneously as we can. But that's the reason why I focused as I have. And here's the deal. I think my Republican colleagues are going to have to determine whether or not we want to work together, or they'll decide that the way in which they want to proceed is to just decide to divide the country, continue the politics of division. But I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to move forward and take these things as they come.
And just to follow up, Mr. President, can your presidency be a success if you can't make progress on those 4 challenges: climate change, immigration reform, gun control, voting rights?
Well, I plan on making progress on all of them, but that's going to be for the American people to decide. I think, I doubt whether, maybe you did, maybe others did. I thought, many of you thought there was no possibility of my getting the plan I got passed without any Republican votes. Pretty big deal. Got passed. Growing the economy. People's lives are changing. So let's see what happens. All I know, I've been hired to solve problems, not create division. Okay, how about Yamish?
Thanks.
All right.
Mr. President. You've said over and over again that immigrants shouldn't come to this country right now. This isn't the time to come. That message is not being received. Instead, the perception of you that got you elected as a moral, decent man is the reason why a lot of immigrants are coming to this country and entrusting you with unaccompanied minors. How do you resolve that tension? And how are you choosing which families can stay and which can go, given the fact that even though with Title 42, there are some families that are staying? And is there a timeline for when we won't be seeing these overcrowded facilities run by CPB when it comes to unaccompanied minors?
Well, look, I guess I should be flattered. People are coming because I'm the nice guy. That's the reason why it's happening. That I'm a decent man, or however it's phrased. That's why they're coming, because Biden's a good guy. Truth of the matter is, nothing has changed. As many people came, 28% increase in children to the border in my administration, 31%
in 2019.
Last year in 2019, before the pandemic, in the Trump administration. It happens every single solitary year. There is a significant increase in the number of people coming to the border in the winter months of
It's smart to mention the seasonality.
It happens every year. In addition to that, there is and by the way, does anybody suggest that there was a 31% increase under Trump because he was a nice guy and he was doing good things at the border? That's not the reason they're coming. The reason they're coming is that it's the time they can travel with the least likelihood of dying on the way because of the heat in the desert, number one. Number two,
well done.
They're coming because of the circumstances in country.
Right.
In country.
Deal with that.
The way to deal with this problem, and I started to deal with it back when I was United States Vice President, putting together a bipartisan plan of over $700 million to do with the root causes of why people are leaving. What did Trump do? He eliminated that funding. He didn't use it. He didn't do it. And in addition to that, what he did, he dismantled all the elements that exist to deal with what had been a problem and has been continued to be a problem for a long time. He, in fact, shut down the number of beds available. He did not fund HHS to get the children out of those Border Patrol facilities where they should not be and not supposed to be more than a few days, a little while. But he dismantled all of that. And so what we're doing now is attempting to rebuild the system that can accommodate what is happening today. And I'd like to think it's because I'm a nice guy, but it's not. It's because of what's happened every year. Let me say one other thing on this. If you take a look at the number of people who are coming, the vast majority, the overwhelming majority of people coming to the border and crossing are being sent back. Thousands, tens of thousands of people who are over 18 years of age and single people, one at a time coming, have been sent back, sent home. We're sending back the vast majority of the families that are coming. We're trying to work out now with Mexico their willingness to take more of those families back. But that's what's happening. They're not getting across the border. And those who are coming across the border who are unaccompanied children, we're moving rapidly to try to put in place what was dismantled, as I said. For example, of all the children who are coming across the border, over 70% are either 16 or 17 years old. We're not talking about people ripping babies from mother's arms or little 3-year-olds standing on the border. Less than, I think it's 1.5% fall in the category of the very young. So what we're doing is we're providing for the space, again, to be able to get these kids out of the Border Patrol facilities, which no child, no one...
He's handling this very well so far.
72 hours. And today, I went to, for example, I used all the resources available to me, went to the Defense Department, and the Secretary of Defense has just made available Fort Bliss, 5,000 beds. Be immediately available, 5,000 beds in the Texas border. So we're building back up the capacity that should have been maintained and built upon, that Trump dismantled. It's going to take time. And the other thing we're doing, I might add, am I giving you too long an answer? Because if you don't want the detail. No, but I mean, I don't know how much detail you want about immigration. Maybe I'll stop there and finish.
My follow-up question is, one, if you could talk a little bit about which families, why they're being allowed to stay, what the families that are being allowed to stay, why they're being allowed to stay. And in addition to that, when it comes to the filibuster, which is what Zeke was asking about, there's immigration is a big issue, of course, when it related to the filibuster, but there's also Republicans who are passing bill after bill trying to restrict voting rights. Chuck Schumer is calling it an existential threat to democracy. Why not back a filibuster rule that at least gets around issues including voting rights or immigration? Jim Clyburn, someone, of course, who you know very well, has backed the idea of a filibuster rule when it comes to civil rights and voting rights.
Well, look, I'm going to deal with all of those problems. The question is the priorities as they come and land on my plate. Let's go to the first question you asked, the first of the second questions you asked, and that is
question 2, part A.
With families, why are not some not going back? Because Mexico is refusing to take them back. They're saying they won't take them back, not all of them. We're in negotiations with the president of Mexico. I think we're going to see that change. They should all be going back, all be going back. The only people we're not going to let sitting there on the other side of the Rio Grande by themselves with no help are children. And what we're doing there, and it's an important point to understand. I know you understand it. I don't mean to say it that way. Important point to focus on. The vast majority of people under the age of 18 come to the United States come with a telephone number on a wristband, or come with a telephone number in their pocket in the United States. A mother, a father, a close relative, a grandmama or grandpa. What was happening before is it's taking literally weeks and weeks and maybe even months before anybody pick up the phone and call to see if there really was someone there. Well, we've set up a system now where within 24 hours there's a phone call made as that child crosses the border. And then a verification system being put in place as of today to determine quickly whether or not that is a trafficker being called or that is actually a mom, a dad, and or a close relative. They're establishing that right off the bat. If it in fact is mom or dad says, to take the extreme case, I got a birth certificate, then guess what? We're getting that kid directly to that parent immediately. And so that's going to reduce significantly. There's 2 ways to reduce child populations in circumstances that are not acceptable, like being held at a Border Patrol station. One is to get them to the place where they have a relative and set a date as to when a hearing can be held. The second way to do it is put them in a Health and Human Services facility that we're occupying now, both licensed beds around the country that exist, as well as, for example, federal resources like Fort Bliss, to get them safely in a place where they can be taken care of while their fate is determined.
Would Mexico take Rand Paul, I wonder?
You know, with regard to the filibuster, I believe we should go back to a position of the filibuster that existed just when I came to the United States Senate 120 years ago. And that is that it used to be required for the filibuster, and I had a card on this. I was going to give you the statistics, but you probably know them. That it used to be that from between 1917 and 1971, the filibuster existed. There were a total of 58 motions to break a filibuster. That whole time. Last year alone, there were 5 times that many. So it's being abused in a gigantic way. And for example, it used to be you had to stand there and talk and talk and talk and talk until you collapsed. And guess what? People got tired of talking and tired of collapsing. Filibusters broke down and we were able to break the filibuster, get a quorum and vote. So I strongly support moving in that direction, in addition to having an open mind about dealing with certain things that are just elemental to the functioning of our democracy, like the right to vote, like the basic right to vote. We've amended the filibuster in the past. But here's the deal. As you observed, I'm a fairly practical guy. I want to get things done. I want to get them done consistent with what we promised the American people. And in order to do that, in a 50-50 Senate, we've got to get to the place where I get 50 votes so that the Vice President of the United States can break the tie, or I get 51 votes without her. And so I'm going to say something outrageous. I have never been particularly poor at calculating how to get things done in the United States Senate. So the best way to get something done, if it holds near and dear to you that you like to be able to, anyway.
Oh boy.
We're going to get a lot done. And if we have
what is happening?
There's complete lockdown and chaos as a consequence of the filibuster, then we'll have to go beyond what I'm talking about. Okay, hang on. Sorry. Oh, Ms. Kim.
All right.
Mr. President, to follow up on the filibuster, so do you believe it should take 60 votes to end a filibuster on legislation or 51?
If we could end it with 51, we would have no problem. You're going to have to, the existing rule, it's going to be hard to get a parliamentary ruling that allows 50 votes to end the filibuster, the existence of a filibuster. It's not my expertise in what the parliamentary rules and how to get there are, but our preoccupation with the filibuster is totally legitimate. But in the meantime, we got a lot we can do while we're talking about what we're going to do about the filibuster.
It's going a little less well the last 5 minutes.
Get here. Okay. Cecilia Vega.
I'd like to circle back to immigration, please. You just listed the reasons that people are coming, talking about in-country problems, saying that it happens every year. You blamed the last administration. Sir, I just got back last night from a reporting trip to the border where I met 9-year-old Josel, who walked here from Honduras by himself, along with another little boy. He had that phone number on him, and we were able to call his family. His mother says that she sent her son to this country because she believes that you are not deporting unaccompanied minors like her son. That's why she sent him alone from Honduras. So, sir, you blame the last administration, but is your messaging in saying that these children are and will be allowed to stay in this country and work their way through this process, encouraging families like Josel's to come?
Well, look. The idea that I'm going to say, which I would never do, that if an unaccompanied child ends up at the border, we're just going to let him starve to death and stay on the other side. No previous administration did that either. except Trump. I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to do it. That's why I've asked the Vice President of the United States yesterday to be the lead person on dealing with focusing on the fundamental reasons why people leave Honduras, Guatemala, El Salvador in the first place. It's because of earthquakes, floods. It's because of lack of food. It's because of gang violence. It's because of a whole range of things that when I was vice president had the same obligation to deal with unaccompanied children. I was able to get it slowed up significantly by working with the heads of state of those communities to do things like in one of the major cities, the reason people were leaving is they couldn't walk the street because their kids were getting beat up or shot or gang violence. Well, what I was able to do is not give money to the head of state because so many are corrupt, but I was able to say, okay, you need lighting in the streets to change things? I'll put the lighting in. We got a contractor. We got the type of lighting. We paid directly to the contractor, did not go through the government. And violent crime significantly was reduced in that city. Fewer people sought to leave. When this hurricane occurred, the two hurricanes, instead of us going down and helping in a major way so that people would not have a reason to want to leave in the first place because they didn't have housing or water or sustenance, we did nothing. We're going to do a lot in our administration. We're going to be spending that $700+ million a year to change the life and circumstances of why people leave in the first place. That mother did not sit around on the kitchen table and say, you know, I got a great idea. Way I'm going to make sure my son gets taken care of is I'm going to put him, how old was he or she?
He's 9. I also met a 10-year-old.
A 9-year-old. I'm going to send him on a 1,000-mile journey across the desert and up to the United States because I know Joe Biden's a nice guy and he'll take care of him. What a desperate act to have to take. The circumstances must be horrible. So we can do something about that. That's what the vice president's going to be doing. What I did when President Obama asked me to come and deal. I was in Turkey at the time. He said, you got to come home and take care of this. So we put together a plan and it had an impact. And so the question here is how we go ahead and do this, what we do. There's no easy answer.
Quick follow, if I may. Do you want to see these unaccompanied minors staying in this country, or should they be deported eventually?
Well, the judgment has to be made whether or not, in this young man's case, he has a mom at home. There's an overwhelming reason why he'd be put in a plane and flown back to his mom.
All right.
Follow, sir. You mentioned circumstances that must be horrific. The Customs and Border Protection Facility in Donna, Texas, I was there, is at 1,556% capacity right now with mostly unaccompanied minors. There are kids that are sleeping on floors. They are packed into these pods. I've spoken to lawyers who say that some of these children have not seen the sun in days. What's your reaction? What is your reaction to these images that have come out from that particular facility? Is what's happening inside acceptable to you? And when is this going to be fixed?
That's a serious question, right? Is it acceptable to me? Come on. That's why we're going to be moving 1,000 of those kids out quickly. That's why I got Fort Bliss opened up. That's why I've been working from the moment this started to happen to try to find additional access for children to be able to safely, not just children, but particularly children, to be able to safely be housed while we follow through on the rest of what's happening. That is totally unacceptable.
It's time to move on, I think.
Ken.
Thank you, Mr. President. I wanted to ask you about Afghanistan. You face a May 1st deadline for the withdrawal of U.S. troops from that country. As a candidate in foreign affairs, you wrote that it is past time to end these forever wars. Can you commit to the American people that by May 2nd, the U.S. will no longer have forces in Afghanistan?
The answer is that it's going to be hard to meet the May 1 deadline, just in terms of tactical reasons, it's hard to get those troops out. So what we've been doing, what I've been doing, and what Secretary Blinken has been doing we've been meeting with our allies, those other nations that have NATO allies who have troops in Afghanistan as well. And if we leave, we're going to do so in a safe and orderly way. We're in consultation, I say, with our allies and partners and how to proceed. And Secretary Blinken is meeting in Brussels this week with our NATO allies, particularly those who have forces there. And General Austin is just met with Kayani, and I'm waiting for the briefing on that. He is the leader, quote, in Afghanistan and Kabul. And there's a UN-led process that's beginning shortly on how to mechanically get people, how to end this war. But it is not my intention to stay there for a long time. But the question is, how and in what circumstances do we meet that agreement that was made by President Trump to leave under a deal that looks like it's not being able to be worked out to begin with? How's that done? But we are not staying a long time.
Do you think it's possible that
we will leave? The question is when we leave.
Do you believe, though, it's possible we could have troops there next year?
I can't picture that being the case.
All right. Let's see if that happens.
Okay, Kristen.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. Given the conditions that were just laid out at the migrant facilities at the U.S. border, will you commit to allowing journalists to have access to the facilities that are overcrowded moving forward?
I will commit when my plan very shortly is underway to let you have access to not just them, but to other facilities as well.
How soon will journalists be able to have access to the facilities? We've obviously been allowed to be inside one.
How soon?
We haven't seen the facilities in which children are packed together to really give the American people a chance to see that. Will you commit to transparency on this issue?
I will commit to transparency. And as soon as I am in a position to be able to implement what we're doing right now, and one of the reasons I haven't gone down, I have all my chief folks have gone down, is I don't want to become the issue. I don't want to be, bringing all the Secret Service and everybody with me to get in the way. So this is being set up, and you'll have full access to everything once we get this thing moving.
Okay, just to be clear, how soon will that be, Mr. President?
I don't know, to be clear.
Responsibility for everything that's happening at the border now. I hear you talking a lot about the past administration. You decided to roll back some of those policies. Did you move too quickly to
roll back what? I'm sorry?
Policies. Did you move too quickly to roll back some of the executive orders of your predecessor?
First of all the policies that are underway were not helping at all. Did not slow up the amount of immigration and as many people coming. And rolling back the policies of separating children from their mothers, I make no apology for that. Rolling back the policies of remain in Mexico, sitting on the edge of the Rio Grande in a muddy circumstance with not enough to eat, I make no apologies for that. I make no apologies for ending programs that did not exist before Trump became president, that have an incredibly negative impact on the law, international law, as well as on human dignity. And so I make no apologies for that.
To ask you about foreign policy, Mr. President. Overnight, we learned that North Korea
Here's
has
Peter
2
Doocy.
ballistic missiles.
Will he be called on?
What actions will you take, and what is your red line on North Korea?
Let me say that, number one, UN Resolution 1718 was violated by those particular missiles that were tested, number one. We're consulting with our allies and partners, and there will be responses if they choose to escalate. we will respond accordingly. But I'm also prepared for some form of diplomacy, but it has to be conditioned upon the end result of denuclearization. So that's what we're doing right now, consulting with our allies.
Just very quick follow-up.
You only got another hour now, okay?
Diplomacy, can you define what you mean? And former President Obama warned the incoming President Trump that North Korea was the top foreign policy issue that he was watching. Is that how you assess the crisis in North Korea?
Yes. Okay.
All right.
One second here. Kristen,
Wow.
Nancy, CBS.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. I want to go back to voting rights. And as Yamiche mentioned, Republican legislatures across the country are working to pass bills that would restrict voting, particularly Democrats fear impacting minority voters and young voters, the very people who helped to get you elected in November. Are you worried that if you don't manage to pass voting rights legislation, that your party is going to lose seats and possibly lose control of the House and the Senate in 2022?
What I'm worried about is how un-American this whole initiative is. It's sick. It's sick. Deciding in some states that you cannot bring water to people standing in line, waiting to vote. Deciding that you're going to end voting at 5 o'clock when working people are just getting off work.
Right.
Deciding that there will be no absentee ballots under the most rigid circumstances. It's all designed, and I'm going to spend my time doing three things. One, trying to figure out how to pass the legislation passed by the House, number one. Number two, educating the American public. The Republican voters I know find this despicable. Republican voters, the folks outside this White House. I'm not talking about the elected officials. I'm talking about voters. And so I'm convinced that we'll be able to stop this because it is the most pernicious thing. This makes Jim Crow look like Jim Eagle. I mean, this is gigantic, what they're trying to do. And it cannot be sustained. And do everything in my power, along with my friends in the House and the Senate, to keep that from becoming the law.
Is there anything else you can do about it besides passing legislation?
The answer is yes, but I'm not going to lay out a strategy in front of the whole world and you now.
Then, on a related note, have you decided whether you are going to run for re-election in 2024? You haven't set up a re-election campaign yet, as your predecessor had by this time.
My predecessor needed to. My predecessor. Oh, God, I miss it. No, an answer is yes.
Great.
My plan is to run for re-election. That's my expectation.
Oh, I like that.
On one other note, on bipartisanship,
My predecessor.
your old friend, Mitch McConnell, says you have only spoken to each other once since you took office, and that you have moved far left since taking office.
Oh, yeah.
Do you see it
really far left?
Have you rejected bipartisanship?
No, I haven't at all. I've been meeting. When's the last time a president invited the opposite party down at least a half a dozen times to talk about issues, everything from how we work. We're working with a group of 20 members of the Senate right now and House on how we reestablish our ability to make computer chips, and how we get ahead of the game, how we can work together. We're working together on a bunch of things. But look, I know Mitch well. Mitch knows me well. I would expect Mitch to say exactly what he said. But this is a matter of making sure that I would like elected Republican support. But what I know I have now is I have electoral support from Republican voters.
Right.
Republican voters agree with what I'm doing. And so unless Mitch says the last thing I did, this last piece of legislation, is so far left, well, then he ought to take a look at his party. Over 50% of them must be over that edge as well, because they support what I did.
Right.
Okay. Where am I here? Let me see. Caitlin?
Thank you very much, Mr. President. I have a question for you, but first, I'd like to follow up on a question from Yamiche, and that's on the filibuster.
That counts as a question, but go ahead.
Okay, I'll make it quick. It's a quick question. Regarding the filibuster, at John Lewis's funeral, President Barack Obama said he believed the filibuster was a relic of the Jim Crow era. Do you agree?
Yes.
If not, why not abolish it if it's a relic of the Jim Crow era?
Successful electoral politics is the art of the possible. Let's figure out how we can get this done and move in the direction of significantly changing the abuse of even the filibuster rule first. It's been abused from the time it came into being by an extreme way in the last 20 years. Let's deal with the abuse first.
You're moving closer to eliminating the filibuster. Is that correct?
I answered your question.
You also just made some news by saying that you are going to run for re-election.
I said that is my expectation.
So is that a yes, that you are running for re-election?
Look, I don't know where you guys come from, man. I've never been able to travel. I'm a great respecter of fate. I've never been able to plan 3.5 years ahead for certain.
And if you do run, will Vice President Harris be on your ticket?
I fully expect that to be the case. She's doing a great job. She's a great partner. She's a great partner.
And do you believe you'll be running against former President Trump?
Oh, come on. I don't even think about it. I have no idea. I have no idea whether there'll be a Republican Party. Do you? I know you don't.
That's actually pretty funny.
I mean,
the party might be done by then.
The way I view things, I become a great respecter of fate in my life. I set a goal of what's in front of me to get things done for the people I care most about.
That's actually not bad. Which Republican do you expect to run against? I don't know that there will be any Republicans.
I want to change the paradigm. I want to change the paradigm. We start to reward work, not just wealth. I want to change the paradigm. If you notice, didn't you find it kind of interesting that my Republican friends were worried about that the cost and the taxes that had to be had, if there is any tax to be had as they talk about it, in dealing with the act that we just passed, which puts money in people's pockets, ordinary people? Do you hear them complain when they passed close to $2 trillion Trump tax cut, 83% going to the top 1%? Do you hear them talk about that at all? I love the fact that they found this whole idea of concern about the federal budget. It's kind of amazing. When the federal budget is saving people's lives, they don't think it's such a good idea. When the federal budget is feathering the nest of the wealthiest Americans, 90 of the Fortune 500 companies making billions of dollars, not paying a cent in taxes, reducing taxes to the point that people who are making, if you're a husband and wife, a school teacher, and a cop, you're paying at a higher rate than the average person making $1 billion a year is. Something's wrong. Their newfound concern. I'm concerned. Look, I meant what I said when I ran, and a lot of you still think I'm wrong, and I respect that.
Right.
I said I'm running for 3 reasons. To restore the soul, dignity, honor, honesty, transparency to the American political system. 2, to rebuild the backbone of this country, the middle class, hardworking people and people struggling to get in the middle class. They built America.
Right.
And unions built them.
Wow.
The 3rd reason I said I was running was to unite the country. And generically speaking, all of you said, no, you can't do that. Well, I've not been able to unite the Congress, but I've been uniting the country based on the polling data. We have to come together. We have to. So from my perspective, it's, to me, it's about just, getting out there, putting one foot in front of the other and just trying to make things better for people. Just hard-working people. People get up every morning and just want to figure out how to put food on the table for their kids, to be able to have a little bit of breathing room, being able to make sure that they go to bed not staring to the ceiling like my dad did, wondering since he didn't have health insurance, what happens if mom gets sick or he got sick? These are basic things. Basic things. And I'm of the view that the vast majority of people, including registered Republicans by and large, share that same view, that same sense of what is, what's appropriate. Justin Sink, Bloomberg.
Thanks, Mr. President. I wanted to ask about your relationship with China now that you've been in office for a couple months. There's obviously the meeting in Alaska that was a little theatrical, and there's the continued human rights abuses. So today, I'm wondering, are you more likely than you were when you came into office to maintain tariffs on China? Are you considering banning imports of forced labor products? And would you consider cutting off U.S. investment or Chinese access to international payment systems?
Well, look, they're each specifically legitimate questions, but they only touch a smidgen of what the relationship with China really is about. I've known Xi Jinping for a long time. Allegedly, by the time I left office as vice president, I had spent more time with Xi Jinping than any world leader had, because President Obama and the Chinese President Hu decided we should get to know one another, since it was inappropriate for the President of the United States to spend time with the Vice President of another country. But it was obvious he was going to become the new leader of China. So I spent hours upon hours with him, alone with an interpreter, my interpreter and his, going into great detail. He's very, very straightforward. Doesn't have a Democratic with a small d bone in his body, but he's a smart guy. He's one of the guys like Putin who thinks that autocracy is the wave of the future. Democracy can't function in an ever complex world. So when I was elected and he called to congratulate me, I think to the surprise of the China experts who were his people on the call as well as mine listening, we had a 2-hour conversation for 2 hours. And we made several things clear to one another. I made it clear to him again what I've
It'd be more interesting to have a 2-hour conversation in an hour.
That we're not looking for confrontation, although we know there will be steep competition. 2, that we'll have strong competition, but we'll insist that China play by the international rules. Fair competition, fair practices, fair trade. Thirdly, in order to compete effectively, I indicated that we're going to deal with China effectively. And we're going to need 3 things to do that, telling our people. First, we're going to invest in American workers and American science. I said that all through the campaign. I say it again, and I'm setting up my administration to be able to do that, which is that, back in the 60s, we used to invest a little over 2% of our entire GDP in pure research and investment in science. Today, it's 0.7%. I'm going to change that. We're going to change that. The future lies in who can, in fact, own the future as it relates to technology, quantum computing, a whole range of things, including in the medical fields. And so what I'm going to do is make sure we invest closer to 2%. One of the reasons why I've set up the PAB, the President's Board with Scientists and the like, again, is we're going to invest in medical research, cancer, Alzheimer's, diabetes, the things, industries of the future, artificial intelligence, quantum computing, biotech, and we're going to make real investments. China is out investing us by a long shot because their plan is to own that future. The second thing we're going to do is we're going to reestablish our alliances, and I've been very clear with them. It's not anti-Chinese, and we've talked about it. I want to make sure that, for example, later today, after this, as a matter of fact, shortly after this, which is fine, we've been going close to an hour. I'm happy.
He may have to go soon.
Longer, but
The performance has been up and down, but it's actually been great insight into how Joe Biden balances idealism versus pragmatism, what his priorities are, his views on foreign policy. It's actually been super informative with some lulls in performance for sure.
It got the Chinese attention. That's not why I did it. I met with our allies and how we're going to hold China accountable in the region. Australia, India, Japan, and the United States, the so-called Quad. Because we have to have democracies working together. Before too long, I'm going to invite...
You might be shocked to know the question was, are you holding Bitcoin?
And so we're going to make it clear that in order to deal with these things, we are going to hold China accountable to follow the rules. Whether it relates to the South China Sea or the North China Sea or the agreement made on Taiwan or a whole range of other things. And the third thing, and the thing that I admire about dealing with Xi is he understands, he makes no pretense about not understanding what I'm saying any more than I do him. I pointed out to him, no leader can be sustained in his position or her position unless they represent the values of the country. And I said, Mr. President, as I've told you before, Americans value the notion of freedom. America values human rights. We don't always live up to our expectations, but it's a value system. We are founded on that principle. And as long as you and your country continues to so blatantly violate human rights, we are going to continue in an unrelenting way to call to the attention of the world and make it clear what's happening. And he understood that. I made it clear that no American president, at least one did, but no American president ever backed down from speaking out of what's happening to the Uyghurs, what's happening in Hong Kong, what's happening in country. That's who we are. The moment a president walks away from that, as the last one did, is the moment we begin to lose our legitimacy around the world. It's who we are. So I see stiff competition with China. China has an overall goal, and I don't criticize them for the goal, but they have an overall goal to become the leading country in the world, the wealthiest country in the world, and the most powerful country in the world. That's not going to happen on my watch, because the United States is going to continue to grow and expand.
Sorry, just to follow up on the meeting of democracies, is that where you expect in a multilateral way to make these decisions about sanctions or
No, that's not where I make the decision. That's where I make sure we're all on the same page. All on the same page. Look, I predict to you, your children or grandchildren are going to be doing their doctoral thesis on the issue of who succeeded, autocracy or democracy. Because that is what is at stake. Not just with China. Look around the world. We're in the midst of a fourth industrial revolution of enormous consequence. Will there be middle class? How will people adjust to these significant changes in science and technology, the environment? How will they do that? And our democracy is equipped because all the people get to speak, to compete. It is clear, absolutely clear, and most of the scholars I dealt with at Penn agree with me around the country, that this is a battle between the utility of democracies in the 21st century and autocracies. If you notice, you don't have Russia talking about communism anymore. It's about an autocracy. Demand decisions made by a leader of a country. That's what's at stake here. We got to prove democracy works.
Mr. President, sorry, I know you haven't had a chance to address the tragedies in Georgia and Colorado, you had said to stay tuned for actions that you might take on gun control. Wondering if you've made a decision either about sending the manufacturer liability bill that you had promised on day one to Capitol Hill, or executive actions like going after ghost guns or giving money to cities and states to battle gun control.
All the above. It's a matter of timing. As you've all observed, successful presidents, better than me, have been successful in large part because they know how to time what they're doing, order it, decide in priorities what needs to be done. The next major initiative is, and I'll be announcing it Friday in Pittsburgh in detail, is to rebuild the infrastructure, both physical and technological infrastructure.
So he's going to do infrastructure next. This has been the question.
So that we can compete and create significant numbers of really good paying jobs. Really good paying jobs.
I think this is the right move.
And some of you have been around long enough to know that used to be a great Republican goal and initiative.
As I said last week, I think that the tax reform is politically tough right now. I think infrastructure is a far better bet.
We are now ranked, 85th in the world in infrastructure? I mean, look, the future rests on whether or not we have the...
And it makes Republicans look worse for opposing it also.
Ports that you can get in and out of quickly, so businesses decide. Some of you, if you're ever local reporters, and you found your governor or mayor trying to attract business to your community, what's the first thing the business asked? What's the closest access to an interstate highway? How far am I from freight rail? Is the water available? Is enough water available for me to conduct my business? All the things that relate to infrastructure. We have somewhere, I asked the staff to write it down for me, and they did, not for this, but for a longer discussion. We have somewhere in terms of infrastructure, we rank 13th globally in infrastructure. China is investing 3 times more in infrastructure than the United States is. Bridges, more than 1/3 of our bridges, 231,000 of them, need repairs. Some are physical safety risks or preservation work. 1 in 5 miles of our highways and major roads are in poor condition. That's 186,000 miles of highway. Aviation, 20% of all flights weren't on time, resulting in 1.5 million hours lost in production. 6 to 10 million homes in America still have lead pipes servicing their water lines. We have over 100,000 wellheads that are not capped, leaking methane. What are we doing? And by the way, we can put as many pipe fitters and miners and us to work capping those wells at the same price that they would charge to dig those wells. So I just find it frustrating. You talk about, last point I'll make in the infrastructure, and I apologize for spending more time on it, but is that if you think about it, it's the place where we will be able to significantly increase American productivity, at the same time providing really good jobs for people. But we can't build back to what they used to be. We have to build, the global warming's already done significant damage. The roads that used to be above the water level didn't have to worry about where the drainage ditch was. Now you got to rebuild them 3 feet higher, because it's not going to go back to what it was before. Only get worse unless we stop it. There's so much we can do. Look at all the schools in America. Most of you live in the Washington area now, but in your hometowns, I don't know where you're all from. How many schools where the kids can't drink the water out of the fountain? How many schools are still in a position where there's asbestos? How many schools in America we're sending our kids to don't have adequate ventilation? How many homes, buildings, office complexes are wasting billions of barrels of oil over time because they can't hold in the heat or the air conditioning because it's leaks through the windows that are so porous in the connections? It's amazing. So there's so much we can do that's good stuff, makes people healthier, and creates good jobs. And I think that I got one more question here. And Janet from Univision.
No question for Peter Ducey.
Mr. President, we too have been reporting at the border, and just like Cecilia, we ran into a pair of siblings who came in on Monday, were detained by CBP, had the phone number for their mother who lives in the U.S. We have contacted the mother. That's the only way they know her kids are here, because CBP today, Thursday, has not contacted that mother. So when can we expect your promise of things getting better with contacting and expediting?
Well, they're already getting better, but they're going to get real. They're going to a whole hell of a lot better real quick, or we're going to hear some people leaving. Okay? We can get this done.
Ooh, firings.
We're going to get it done. I had a long meeting with the entire team and several cabinet level officers the other night. We're going to be moving within the next week over 100,000. I mean, 1,000 people out of the Border Patrol into safe, secure beds and facilities. We're going to significantly ramp up. We're already out there contacting everyone from getting some of the employees at HHS. There's a lot of them doing other things and move them into making those calls. We're in the process of rearranging and providing for the personnel needed to get that done. But I admire the fact that you were down there, you're making the calls yourself. It's real. The next thing that has to happen, though, as you well know, has to happen. There have to be some certitude that this is actually mom, dad, or whomever. And there's ways to do that. There's ways to do that, a little bit like determining whether or not you got the right code for your credit card. What was your dog's name, kind of thing. I'm being a bit facetious, but not really. And also seeking harder data from DNA.
Speaking of the dogs.
To birth certificates, which takes longer. So I want to do this as quickly, as humanly possible, and as safely as possible.
As you well know, treating the root causes in Latin America doesn't change things overnight. How do you realistically and physically keep these families from coming to the U.S. when things will not get better in their countries right away?
Uh-oh, he's getting closer.
I can't guarantee that, but I know, that old thing, the journey of 1,000 miles starts with the first step.
Ancient
you
proverb.
Know as well as I do.
Apocryphal, maybe.
You have it's not like somebody sitting on a hand-hewn table in Guatemala, in somewhere in Mexico or in Guadalupe saying, I got a great idea. Let's sell everything we have. Give it to a coyote. Have them take our kids across the border into a desert where they don't speak the language. Won't that be fun? Let's go. That's not how it happens. People don't want to leave. When my great-grandfather got in a coffin ship in the Irish Sea, the expectation was he going to live long enough on that ship to get to the United States of America. But they left because of what the Brits had been doing. They were in real trouble. They didn't want to leave, but they had no choice. So I can't guarantee we're going to solve everything, but I can guarantee we can make everything better. We can make it better. We can change the lives of so many people. And the other thing I want to point out to you, and I hope you point out, I realize it's much more heart-wrenching, and it is, to deal with a 5 and 6 and 7-year-old. But you went down there and you saw the vast majority of these children, 70% are 16 years old, 17 years old, and mostly males. Doesn't make it good, bad, or indifferent. But the idea that we have tens of thousands of kids in these god-awful facilities that are really little babies crying all night, that's true. That's why we got to act. And yesterday, I asked my team, both the director of the two agencies as well as others, I asked them what would they in fact, and I asked their opinion because they're the experts, but I said, focus on the most vulnerable immediately. But there's no reason why in the next month as people cross the border, that phone call can't be made in the first 48 hours and begin.
If I may ask one last question, have you had any talks with Senate Republicans who are threatening this administration with not considering the immigration legislation that was passed in the House until the situation at the border has been resolved?
No, because I know they have to posture for a while. They sort of got to get out of their system. This is but I'm ready to work with any Republican who wants to help solve the problem or make the situation better. But folks, I'm going. Thank you very, very much. I appreciate it. Thank you.
And there goes President Joe Biden to screaming and yelling. Very, very interesting. There was a good whoa, Zuckerberg out of nowhere. There was a good question asked here. I would love your prediction about which clip Fox will obsess with. I expect on Hannity, I expect Don Jr. to tweet a compilation of silences where Biden is thinking what he wants to say. I would expect them to put them all back to back and create the appearance that Biden was essentially in a haze and punch drunk the entire time. That would be my expectation. Now, I saw some people in the chat talking amongst yourselves about something that I think is a really good question. In these scenarios, Trump would say, everything's under control. I'm going to fix everything completely and quickly, period. And it was never believable to us, but it sort of projected a certain degree of confidence. Joe Biden is speaking to people realistically, which is to say, expecting me to fix all of this stuff isn't realistic. We can improve. We're not going to completely resolve all of these things. A lot of these things are decades-long things. Why haven't I done everything? Well, because you've got to go in order. I can't do everything all at once. There's going to be an order to things and we have to prioritize. It's obviously completely realistic compared to the Trump approach, but what is going to be the perception? Because my guess is right-wing media is going to say, he didn't even commit to fixing every problem he was asked about. Well, no, he's telling the truth, which is he can't just do it all as an authoritarian. Trump either believed or pretended that he could do everything unilaterally as an authoritarian. He didn't. We didn't believe it, but it counted as, quote, strength for some people on the right. So I don't know what the impact of that is necessarily going to be. I want to say thank you not just to Side Jumps who just grabbed the Twitch subscription, but to everybody who signed up via Twitch. The coupon code on my website, Immoral21, is done tomorrow. Maxwell Moody just used it on my website. Michael Jaramillo just used it. Kiret Dinza just used it. John Stennett has signed up. So many great people. Steve Stock and Heather Coombs. So I really appreciate that. Remember that we are on break next week, but then we're going to be back really strongly, really strongly, and get me the video edits for the next 10 free membership contest. You can scroll back in the stream to get the particulars on that. And we will see everybody very, very soon.